Welcome back, retro gamers, and today we're going to take a look at some of the history behind one of the all-time classic Disney platformers. It should come as no surprise that following the success of Disney's Aladdin game for the Super Nintendo and Genesis version especially, that Disney wanted to capitalise on its success with another game on these systems. It wasn't all smooth sailing where production was concerned, because The Lion King has a bit of an interesting backstory. Let's find out how this game came to be. After the success of Aladdin, who better to approach than the team responsible? A recipe for success, right? Well, it wasn't as smooth as that. Shortly after signing the deal, David Perry and his team left Virgin Interactive, which turns out wasn't an entirely bad thing altogether, because he later went on to form his own company, Shiny Entertainment, who, most notably for me at least, brought us the Earthworm Jim series.
Groovy!
This exit came just a week after Westwood Studios signed their deal, and now they were left to work on the game themselves with no help from the Aladdin team. Not deterred by this setback, the team got to work. They decided not to use the engine the previous team had used, but instead opted to build their own. Not only that, but in order to make the game work on both platforms, it had to be a cross-platform engine. Similar to how the Aladdin game adaptation on the Genesis went, the team worked together with the Disney animators, and despite the deal being signed in November of 1993, it wasn't until February 1994 that Lewis Castle and his team received the first pieces of artwork from the Disney animators. Well, obviously this wasn't going to work. Disney were very scarce with the source material, so in order to get the game ready for July, Castle made the decision in April that himself and the core team would fly out to Orlando, where he ultimately stayed for 3 to 4 weeks in order to get enough material to work with. This wasn't the only issue they had to deal with, because in the 11th hour, as Castle himself says, Disney said that the game needed to be harder at the beginning, because when people rented the game, Disney's analytics found that if they were able to get past a certain percentage of the game after renting it, they wouldn't buy it. And yes, for all you younger folks who don't remember this, partly due to the fact that games are more accessible now, but going to your local rental store and picking out a game for the weekend was a thing in the 90s, and it never got old. The Lion King, in fact, was one that I rented, and after not being able to beat this level, I knew I had to own it. So I guess they were right after all. The level I'm talking about, of course, is the second level in the game, and the reason I couldn't pass this stage? Well, it's the stage the team intentionally made harder because it was the easiest to do with time constraints. They added the end section with the monkeys and removed the button cues for the second ostrich section, as if it wasn't hard enough to do the double jump and not hit those dang branches. Their plan worked so well, in fact, that some of my friends didn't even know that you could play as adult Simba in the game. The Stampede level for me is one of the standout levels in the game. It's a change of pace compared to other levels, and it's the only one where you run towards the camera. It adds a real sense of urgency to an already traumatizing level for anyone who's seen the movie. And this level actually has a funny story behind it as well. Sensing a theme with this video. Castle had spoke to Disney about his idea to make this level, and not long after, his inside man, not to be named, let him know that Disney were going to ask them not to work on that scene. This is due to time constraints, and they didn't think they would make it for release. As you know, this level did make it to the game, so what happened? Well, it's a huge testament to the team's passion for the game, because they decided to halt all further progress on the game and decided to solely focus on building that section for their next meeting with Disney. So when they arrived to show off what they'd done with the game, the technical director started to talk about how it wouldn't be possible to make that level in the time frame that they had, and almost like magic they loaded up the Stampede level, played it on the screen, and well, as you can imagine, that meeting was over. If you've seen the movie first, then scenes like this and this may not be familiar to you from the film due to the fact that they were cut late in the development, but as they'd already used the assets in the game, the team had to fight hard to keep them in. An interesting aspect you may not have picked up on is Simba's design. He looks almost 3D, which is exactly the look the team was going for. Westwood Studios were big in the 3D development and were hinting at future projects and what they could do. So much so that they even developed a prototype for a 3D version of Aladdin 2 that ultimately we didn't get. I hope you learned something new about this near 30-year-old game, and if not, I hope you enjoyed the video so far. Some of the facts I already knew myself, but others are brand new to me, so I thought it'd make an interesting video for you all. If you do go back to play this gem, be sure to look out for secrets in the game, because they'll help you along the way. Things like extra lives, bugs that increase your roar and life meters, mini games and continues, all helping to ease the difficulty on your journey to the final battle. Another thing to note is in the menu it gives you some basic movesets, but if you check the manual you'll notice some moves that you might not be aware of, one of which is imperative to know in order to complete the game. I miss the days when games had manuals. This was a fun look back at an absolutely classic Disney platformer that I always enjoy picking up. With 10 unique levels to play through, 6 as young Simba and 4 as adult Simba, you'll no doubt find something you love about this game. If you can pick this up for your collection you'll not be disappointed. It's not without its flaws, but for the most part it's an amazing game. For me, it's one of my favourites in the collection. There was also a re-release on current systems if you want to check that out alongside some of the Aladdin ports, and for this being the first movie tie-in game ever created that was released while the movie was still showing in theatres, I think it's a true testament to the team behind it that here we are all these years later, getting re-releases and enjoying it as much as we ever did. Were you ever able to complete the game when renting it? Are you even old enough to remember what renting games was? Let me know some of your memories with this game in the comment section below. And as always, happy gaming.